talk about FOMC, I'm going to be going through the whole entire summary of what actually happened during the meeting, the Q&A, and what actually changed in this current FOMC. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about it. Let's get it out of the room. Okay, let's get the elephant out of the room. Okay, 25 basis point increment as expected. Okay, as expected, the consensus on the street, everyone expected a 25 basis point increment. That's what we got. Okay, nothing out of the blue. Okay, however, the whole entire meeting was a little bit, I don't know, neutral. Okay, there wasn't really much going on about it. Okay, because basically they're just saying that the economy seemed a little bit more resilient this time. And something that's a little bit more interesting is that Jerome Powell actually started to talk about how he's intending to take every meeting live. Okay, so it's not live streaming the whole entire meeting. That's not going to be happening. Okay, it's more so like keeping all your prior thoughts off the table until the actual meeting, and then you're going to talk about it. So kind of like a data-driven approach, basically saying that, like, for every single meeting, I'm not going to have any pre-consensus of what I want to do for it. It's just going to be, we're going to sit down, we're going to get the data, and then we're going to look at every single meeting from there on out. We're not going to target like 7 months or 12 months in the future, that sort of thing. They want to take everything live, okay? So Powell basically was like talking about how if all these different conditions were met, they do intend to stay stable for this meeting. So of course, aka a pause. So this kind of changed the whole entire tonality of what the Feds were actually talking about, because 3 weeks ago, or about maybe 4 weeks ago, Jerome Powell actually came out to talk about it and saying that, like, we are going to be expecting 2 more hikes. We are going to be expecting 2 more hikes. Effectively, that means we're going to be having this hike, the one that we just got, and we're expecting 1 more afterwards. But right now, what he's basically saying is that, maybe if everything, if all the conditions are met, we might actually want to stay stable for the next meeting. And that kind of basically just rallied the market a little bit more, because people were already pricing in a 50 basis point increment in this and the next meeting, which is 50 basis point by the September meeting. And that kind of changed a little bit, because a lot of people are expecting this right now. The market is pricing this current meeting to be the last meeting that we're going to have a rate hike. Hey, I said it. I don't know if that's going to be true. Okay, I'm not sure if that's going to be true, but that's what a lot of people are saying at the moment. Okay, so afterwards they also talk about how stronger growth would also welcome more tightening of the policies. So of course it's kind of like a push and pull sort of thing. Okay, I'm telling you that it's going to be stable market and such, but at the same time I got to pull it back a little bit, because it's going to be like, of course if we get a lot of growth in the entire market, maybe we still have to tighten the monetary policies a little bit more. We cannot just completely loosen all this quantitative easing that we've doing for the past 2 years, simply because we got a few good data. Okay, so next meeting is going to be happening in September. Okay, so effectively we're still going to have 2 more CPI, which is inflation report. We're going to have 2 more jobs data. We're going to have a lot more activities data, such as your unemployment, your employment, labor data, whatever it is. All these different things, all of them are going to be coming out as well. So we've got 2 months of a lot of data for us to actually really look into before we can actually decide what would happen in the September meeting. Basically what Jerome Powell is talking about. Okay, so afterwards he also talked a lot more about how core inflation trending downwards is going to be an indicative condition for pausing. Okay, so I think this has already been talked about quite often, where they were talking about how core inflation has always been the matrix that they want to look at when they are looking at CPI or PCE. Okay, so it's kind of obvious, because we know for a fact that headline numbers, when you see inflation is at like 9%, it is concerning, but the thing is that core inflation is at like 4% or 5%. It's actually a lot lower than what the headline inflation numbers usually look like. And for the Federal Reserve, they do want to see the core inflation numbers, simply because they do not want all these different volatile numbers coming in, which is your food and energy. Okay, but honestly speaking, I do think that those 2 are the ones that we actually have to talk about. As much as you want to talk about how these 2 are the ones that's contributing to the inflation, hence we are going to take it out, and then talk about the rest, then it's kind of like, what's the whole point of this whole conversation? And then what's worse is that people are talking about the super core inflation, which is also excluding rental prices and shelter prices, which is like, come on, then, like, what are you doing your inflation report for? But yeah, because of that, then that's kind of how that is. Alright, next up, they also talk about how rates cuts is also not going to be projected for this year. And let's be honest, okay? Nobody was expecting a rate cut this year. Okay, nobody in the hell was expecting a rate cut. Not the bears, not the bulls, no one. No one was expecting a rate cut. I don't even know why was that even a question to begin with. I think a rate cut in this year is just completely out of the question. Okay, the only way that you can actually see a rate cut happening is if the economy suddenly just went so high up to the point. Oh no, actually no. Like we have to see two different extremes. Okay, we have to actually see sudden growth up to like 100%, or we have to see another pandemic or a huge recession happening for them to suddenly be like, okay, you know what? We have to just get rid of all the rates. Let's bring it down to zero. Okay, like what happened in 2020? What happened in 2020? What happened in 2008 or 2009 effectively? So yeah, those are the reasons why we are able to see such a huge rate cut at such a quick pace. Okay, but the thing is that we're not going to be getting there. Okay, most likely, if, for example, if this is currently going to be the last hike of the whole hiking cycle, okay, we're going to be expecting a rates cut to come in 2024, obviously. So in 2024, when the rates cut do come in, we're expecting it to be either going to be the late first half of the year or early next second half of the year. Okay, most likely that's going to be the case. Okay, and when that actually happens, you're not going to suddenly see a huge rates cut immediately, because they kind of have to kind of test the water out a little bit. Okay, is the water warm? Is the water cold? Okay, maybe do a 25, maybe do a 50 basis point, a 25 or 50 basis point cut. It's kind of weird. Haven't been talking about cuts in so long, and now we're talking about cuts. It's always been rate hikes, but yeah. So when that actually happened, then you can actually see rates actually going down. Otherwise, I don't think anyone is projecting any rates cuts in this year. Okay, so something that Jerome Powell actually talked about, and I do want to quote him, which is that we came a long way on fighting inflation, and now we can afford to be a little more patient. This basically just rallied the whole entire market during the whole entire meeting itself. Everyone was like, oh my god, like Jerome Powell, like come on, are you showing a dovish side of yourself? Like come on. Which is huge, because when you actually say something like that, which is saying, because every single time we have a hike, it means that they are not patient. They don't want to wait. They don't want to just sit there and just wait for a month of nothingness. No, they're gonna do something. They're gonna make an action. Okay, they're gonna be hiking. They're gonna be cutting down on their balance sheet, things like that. Okay, but right now, what Jerome Powell is basically saying is that we can be patient. That's fine. So then right now, chances are, at the current state of things, consensus is going to be that we're going to have a pause for the next meeting. I'm just saying. There's a very good chance that the market is going to be, the rates are going to be pausing for the next meeting, which is also why the market is also rallying up a little bit. Okay? Of course, on top of that, they're also talking about how they're not forecasting a recession anymore. Huge. Because the thing is that they're saying that, I don't think a recession is going to be coming anytime soon. AKA soft landing, according to Jerome Powell. Okay, but of course, again, I feel that I need to really continuously emphasize this point. I am not bullish just yet. I am still bearish. Whatever that I am telling you is bullish on the market, regardless of whatever standing I do have. But I do say this because I just want to show that I'm unbiased. Okay, I'm giving you the opinion that I do have. My portfolio might not actually reflect whatever that I'm saying, because I'm feeling a different way than what the actual market is talking about. Okay, that's just my own bet against the market. But hey, I don't know. Okay, so because of that, they're expecting no more recession, but I still think that this is kind of the time where people kind of, become a little bit more complacent, and that's when a recession normally do happen, when complacency takes over confidence. So, I'm not sure how that's going to be turning out. Okay, afterwards, someone did ask about the banking sector, and Jerome Powell just said, the banking sectors are good, credit situation basically solved. There's not going to be any more anomalies like the Silicon Valley Bank situation, Credit Suisse situation, and things like that. Quite cool. It's just a funny tidbit that actually did happen. Okay, someone did ask Jerome Powell, if the meetings that you're going to be taking, if they're supposedly live meetings, but then they still unanimously voted for a rate increase. Was there any doubt on what the decision will be in the past few days before the meeting? And Jerome Powell straight up scoffed at this guy. Okay, Jerome Powell scoffed at this guy. He said, "What?" He was like, "Nah, no, there's no doubt." Like it was actually so funny when I actually saw it live. I was like, oh, "What's going on here?" But yeah, he basically is like saying, "Hey man, yeah, you can just check the minutes in 3 weeks and everything will be out there. Okay, and then we can actually vet what actually did happen during this meeting itself. In 3 weeks' time, when the minutes do come out, we can actually see what they were actually talking about. Usually, when the minutes come out, it's just gonna be like a huge, long document of a lot of different words. You can just use Control F, go and find the keywords that you do want to find. Usually, I find like recession, inflation, buzzwords that actually matters to the market and things like that. Okay." But yeah, anyway, that's kind of all for FOMC. Right now, like I say, just ending words for this whole entire summary. I think it's quite safe to say that as of right now, if nothing weird happens in the next 3 to 5 weeks, I think we're going to be pausing for the next meeting. But of course, I will still be making an expectation video for that when that do actually before the next meeting do happen. Because the next meeting we will be getting an SCP as well, a summary of economic projection. And that's going to be interesting because we're going to look at the dot plots. We're going to look at how confident that people are looking at how the rates cuts are going to be going, if there's going to be any more rate hikes in this year, and all this yada yada. So yeah, anyway, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.